This is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus Against All Odds, the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view that literally just ended. We were looking at 9 matches. They had 6 announced and that they were promoting actively. It ended up being 9 matches long. A little under 3 hours. Considering the main event was pretty much a foregone conclusion, the pay-per-view ranged from as many Impact pay-per-views do. Some spectacular matches, some good decisions, coupled with some things that just fall flat. The last Impact pay-per-views have been really good. This one is definitely a step down from those, but some of the shining moments really did stand out very effectively. Let's just jump into it, shall we? We had a tag team street fight with the Good Brothers against Tommy Dreamer and Sami Callihan. A great decision made here where Tommy Dreamer basically took a whooping from the Good Brothers, taking the Magic Killer through a table at one point, but they let Sami shine, and Sami pinning Carl Anderson definitely set him up as somebody who could possibly go against the Elite and Kenny Omega, if that's what it came down to, since Sami Callihan is supposed to get a title shot against whomever wins against with Moose and Kenny Omega. Second match, Kojima against Joe Doring. They've obviously worked together in Japan before. Really another surprisingly good match. That twisting powerbomb thing by Joe Doring to get the win was impressive. Josh Matthews with the most hilarious call of nobody likes a 3-man booth. Commentary team, a shot at AEW and WWE. It did get a chuckle out of me, so I thought I'd mention it. And so far we're doing well. We had a Rosemary and a backstage thing with Decay firing them up, since the male members of Decay were going to get a tag title shot and she would get a shot at the women's title. So nice little setup there. The third match, this was Impact all day, right? Number 1 contender for the X Division title. So you had Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Rohit Raju, P.D. Williams, and Trey Miguel. I like the commentators in this one talking about, like, give me your predictions, and they would talk about things, and apparently Ace Austin's guy, Madman Fulton, had been dropped and beat up by the other 4 people in the match earlier, so he wasn't at ringside, but at the end of the day, after a very good Impact X Division style match, Madman Fulton came in. The highlight being the cool move where he basically got all 4 guys in different ways, shapes, and forms and dropped them all. That was, if the goal was make Madman Fulton look like a freaking monster, mission accomplished. The referee throws the match out of no contest. So we have a bit of a controversy on, wow, what are they going to do about a number 1 contender? Didn't hate it. Keep in mind, this is not one of their major pay-per-views. That would be Slammiversary, which is coming up. And speaking of Slammiversary, they have a bit of a promo for Slammiversary implying, the WWE has released all these people and Slammiversary is coming up. Ooh, interesting. Match number 4, Rich Swann against W. Morrissey, the former Big Cass, and this is our virtual squash. Props to Rich Swann. While it is definitely the right move to build Morrissey up, for Rich Swann, the former champion, to be involved in a lengthy virtual squash here, while it was the right move, it's tough because I love Rich Swann. I'm not going to play the game of couldn't they have, shouldn't they have gotten somebody else. I'm just going to say Rich Swann did what he needed to do. The right person won, and in convincing fashion to boot. Then it started to get a little wonky, right? Tennille Dashwood against Jordan Grace. It was what it was. Tennille Dashwood won with a roll-up. This match felt very throwaway. Match number 6, Fire and Flava against Kimberly and Susan. The I'm hurt thing from Kimberly, and then the referee stopping the match, sort of, and then she keeps I hated that spot. I hated when they did it in Moose's match too. At least in Moose's match, there was kind of something that made more sense. And Moose, it was a way of building Moose up as Moose is demanding that they continue the match. I just find it really weird when pro wrestling we see people get quote unquote hurt all the time, and it becomes the story of working on that body part. But then sometimes we decide that we need to stop matches or postpone them when somebody's selling and hurt. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I wish they would quit doing that fucking spot, if I'm being honest. I thought in particular the Kimberly leg injury thing, it just looked really Bush League. And this is the part where the pay-per-view kind of dipped. But then it kind of came back. Decay had a good match with Diener and Rhino. And that little kickback DDT by Diener just looks phenomenal. So Decay are the big losers of the pay-per-view, obviously. The Macklin promo, while interesting... okay, he's drinking. And then we set up how we got to Deonna Purrazzo against Rosemary. Then we had that match. It was a good match. They really want Deonna Purrazzo to look strong as a champion, and they accomplished that. Then we had a clip package of how we got to Moose and Kenny Omega. We're at Daly's place. It was a strange thing because there were a small group of wrestlers watching, but it felt very cavernous because of the way they did the lighting. So it's just dark outside of the ring, and with voices sort of echoing in the night. It really didn't have that effect of we're in front of a crowd of any note. It really just came across as very flat. It's kind of like, I watch all of the darks and all of the elevations, and it came off like a weaker version of one of those. As far as the crowd went, the match was fine. Moose showing a very good ability to sell. I loved his sells in this thing. At the end of the day, ref bump happens. Bucks help Kenny Omega. They hit the one-winged angel, get the pin. Lights go out. Little Sami Callihan shows up with his bat, hits the Bucks and Omega in the gut with it. Don Callis, when Sami Callihan goes to possibly crush Omega with the bat and a chair, Don Callis fires him, which distracts him enough for Omega to get out of there, and Scott D'Amore is very unhappy. No great shakes on this pay-per-view. Nothing of consequence happened. No title changes took place, but a lot of it was just kind of setting the table for Slammiversary. This has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.